Bleach.
Bleach.
She bleached her hair blonde.
The wood had been bleached by the sun.
Bleachers.
Bleachers.
Bleary.
Bleary.
Steve emerged from his room, unshaven and bleary-eyed.
Bleak.
Bleak.
The company still hopes to find a buyer, but the future looks bleak.
A bleak January afternoon.
The landscape was bleak.
Bleat.
Bleat.
But I've only just got here, bleated Simon.
Bleed.
Bleed.
Your nose is bleeding.
Tragically, she bled to death.
Mrs. Burke was found unconscious and bleeding profusely.
When he fell sick several days later, he had a doctor bleed him.
His ex-wife clearly intends to bleed him for every last penny.
The 10-year war has bled the country dry.
We need to bleed the radiators.
Wash it in cold water so the colours don't bleed. Wash it in cold water so the colours don't bleed.
Analysts predict the retailer will continue to bleed red ink, with losses topping $180 million. Analysts predict the retailer will continue to bleed red ink, with losses topping $180 million.
Bleeder. Bleeder.
Bleeding.
Bleeding. Use pressure to control the bleeding.
The bleeding had almost stopped.
He died of internal bleeding.
Bleeding heart.
Bleeding heart.
Bleep.
Bleep.
The timer on the cooker started to bleep.
All the swear words had been bleeped out.
Bleeper.
Bleeper.
Blemish.
Blemish.
His record will be blemished by this failure.
Blend.
Blend.
A story that blends fact and legend.
Leave the sauce to allow the flavors to blend together.
Blend the sugar, eggs and flour.
Blended whiskey.
The old house blends in perfectly with the countryside.
An excellent team with a nice blend of experience and youthful enthusiasm.
Blended family.
Blended family.
Bless.
Bless.
He's always willing to help, bless him. Jess made this card for me. Bless.
We're both blessed with good health.
May God bless you.
The couple later had their marriage blessed in their local parish church. The couple later had their marriage blessed in their local parish church.
Then the priest blesses the bread and wine.
Blessed.
Now, where have I put that blessed book? A few moments of blessed silence. The Blessed Virgin.
Blessing.
Blessing.
The dishwasher has been a real blessing.
It's a blessing no one was badly hurt.
They were determined to marry, with or without their parents' blessing.
The Defense Department has given its blessing to the scheme.
Having children so early in their marriage was a mixed blessing.
The priest gave the blessing.
Blether.
Blether.
Blue.
Blue.
Blight.
Blight.
Her guilty secret was a blight on her happiness. Her guilty secret was a blight on her happiness.
The blight of poverty.
A disease which, though not fatal, can blight the lives of its victims.
A country blighted by poverty.
Blighted hopes.
Blighter.
Blighter.
Poor old blighter. You lucky blighter.
Blighty. Blighty.
Blimey.
Blimey.
Blimey, look at that.
Blimp. Blimp. Blimp.
Blind.
Blind. A school for blind children.
The needs of blind people.
She's almost blind in her right eye.
He was slowly going blind.
Beverly was born blind.
Talking books for the blind.
I'm as blind as a bat without my glasses. She screamed at him, her eyes blind with tears.
International companies are all too often blind to local needs.
He was totally blind to the faults of his children. Teachers were turning a blind eye to smoking in school.
He never pays a blind bit of notice to what his staff tell him. He never pays a blind bit of notice to what his staff tell him. Try and talk to her if you want, but I don't think it'll make a blind bit of difference.
Blind faith sent thousands of people to a pointless war.
A story about blind loyalty.
In a moment of blind panic, she had pulled the trigger and shot the man dead.
Blind rage took hold of him.
For a moment I was blinded by the glare of headlights coming towards me.
The dust choked and blinded him.
Blinded by tears, I walked towards the door.
He should have known better, but he was blinded by his own wants.
Children's bad behavior should not blind us to their need for love. Children's bad behavior should not blind us to their need for love.
His single-minded determination to win the war is blinding him to other dangers.
He had been blinded in an explosion.
The blinds were drawn to protect the new furniture from the sun.
Blind alley.
False information has led the police up a series of blind alleys.
Blind date.
Would you ever go on a blind date?
Blinder.
He played an absolute blinder.
Blindfold.
Blindfold.
Blindfold the prisoner.
Blinding.
Blinding.
The desert with its strange twisted plants and its blinding light. I struggled back to the hut through blinding rain. I struggled back to the hut through blinding rain.
It was then that she realized with blinding clarity that she loved him.
Suddenly, I had a blinding flash of inspiration.
It's a blinding album.
Blindingly.
Blindingly.
It was blindingly obvious that Max wasn't interested.
Blindly.
Blindly.
Don't just blindly accept what you are told.
I don't know, she repeated as she stared blindly down into her glass.
I ran blindly upstairs.
Blind man's buff.
Blind man's buff.
Blindside.
Blindside.
Their car was blindsided by a bus at the intersection. I was blindsided by his suggestion.
Blind spot.
I have a blind spot where computers are concerned. I have a blind spot where computers are concerned.
Bling bling.
Bling bling.
Blink.
Blink.
I blinked as I came out into the sunlight.
The light on your answering machine is blinking.
When I told her how much it would cost, she didn't even blink.
Lynn laughed, blinking back unexpected tears.
My computer's on the blink again.
Blinkered.
Blinkered.
A blinkered attitude to other cultures. Blinkers.
Blinkers.
Blinking.
Blinking.
Turn that blinking music down.
Blip.
Blip. Blips on a radar screen. A government spokesman described the rise in inflation as a temporary blip. A government spokesman described the rise in inflation as a temporary blip.
Bliss.
Bliss.
6 months of wedded bliss.
I didn't have to get up till 11. It was sheer bliss.
Blip.
Blip. A government spokesman described the rise in inflation as a temporary blip.
Bliss.
Blissed out.
Blissed out.
Blissed out partygoers.
Blissful.
Blissful.
Blissful sunny days.
Jean seems blissfully happy.
Blissfully unaware of the impending danger.
B-list.
B-list.
B-list celebrities.
Blister.
Blister.
New shoes always give me blisters.
The paint will blister in the heat.
My hands were blistered from all the digging. My hands were blistered from all the digging.
Blistering.
The blistering heat of the desert.
A blistering attack on her boss.
Hamilton set a blistering pace.
A blisteringly hot day.
Blister pack. Blister pack.
Blithe.
Blithe.
A blithe disregard for the facts.
He seems blithely unaware of how much anger he's caused. He seems blithely unaware of how much anger he's caused.
Blithe.
A blithe disregard for the facts.
Blithering.
Blithering.
The Blitz.
Blitz.
We'll have to have a blitz on the house before your parents arrive.
The campaign was launched with a nationwide publicity blitz. The campaign was launched with a nationwide publicity blitz.
News came that Rotterdam had been blitzed.
Blizzard.
Blizzard.
We got stuck in a blizzard.
A blizzard of emails.
Bloated.
Bloated.
A red bloated face. I feel really bloated after that meal.
The bloated state bureaucracy. Bloater.
Bloater.
Block.
Bloc. The former Soviet bloc.
Blockade.
Blockade.
A naval blockade.
They've imposed an economic blockade on the country.
An agreement to lift the blockade.
Angry farmers used tractors as blockades on the streets.
The ships blockaded the port. Blockage.
Blockage.
A blockage in the pipe.
Block and tackle.
Block and tackle.
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
The latest Hollywood blockbuster.
Block capitals.
Block capitals.
Complete the form in block capitals.
Blockhead.
Blockhead.
Blockhouse.
Blockhouse.
Block letters.
Block letters.
Block party.
Block party.
Blog.
Blog.
Blogosphere. Blogosphere.
Blog post. Blog post.
Blogzine.
Blogzine.
Bloke.
Bloke.
He's a nice bloke.
Blokish.
Blokish.
Playing football, fixing the car, and other blokish activities.
Blonde.
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 A beautiful blonde.
Blood.
Blood.
Her body was found in a pool of blood.
Blood oozed from a cut on his forehead.
Blood tests proved he was not the father.
Dictators with blood on their hands.
Evans had been murdered in cold blood.
The way they treat people makes my blood boil.
Getting the truth out of her is like getting blood out of a stone.
They tried to stop me, but my blood was up. There's Irish blood on his mother's side.
Beth sweated blood over that article.
We need to bring in some new blood and fresh ideas. Blood and guts.
Blood and guts.
A blood and guts struggle between the two teams.
Blood and thunder.
Blood and thunder.
Blood bank.
Blood bank.
Bloodbath.
Bloodbath.
Blood brother.
Blood brother.
Blood count.
Blood count.
Her blood count is very low.
Blood curdling.
Blood curdling.
A blood-curdling scream.
Blood diamond. Blood diamond.
Blood donor.
Blood donor.
Bloodfest.
Bloodfest.
Blood feud.
Blood feud.
Blood group.
Blood group.
Blood heat.
Blood heat.
Bloodhound.
Bloodhound.
Bloodless.
Bloodless.
A bloodless coup.
His lips were thin and bloodless.
Bloodletting.
Bloodletting.
The movie contains scenes of violence and bloodletting.
Many jobs have been lost, and the bloodletting isn't over yet.
Bloodline.
Bloodline.
A royal bloodline. Bloodlust.
Bloodlust.
Blood money.
Blood money.
Blood orange.
Blood orange.
Blood poisoning.
Blood poisoning.
Blood pressure.
Blood pressure.
High blood pressure.
The nurse will take your blood pressure.
Blood red.
Blood red.
Blood relation.
Blood relation.
Bloodshed.
Bloodshed.
Diplomacy aimed at stopping further bloodshed.
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
A demonstration against blood sports.
Bloodstain.
Bloodstain.
A blood-stained handkerchief.
Bloodstock.
Bloodstock.
A bloodstock auction.
Bloodstream.
Bloodstream.
The drug is injected directly into the bloodstream.
Bloodsucker.
Bloodsucker.
Bloodthirsty.
Bloodthirsty.
A bloodthirsty crowd.
The film was too bloodthirsty for me.
Blood transfusion.
Blood transfusion.
Blood type.
Blood type.
Blood vessel.
Blood vessel.
Bloody.
Bloody.
It's bloody cold out there. That's a bloody good idea. Bloody hell.
It serves you bloody well right.
A bloody battle.
She was furious, screaming bloody murder at the manager.
He emerged from the discussions bloody but unbowed.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody-minded.
Bloody-minded.
Stop being so bloody-minded.
Bloom.
Bloom.
Beautiful red blooms.
A massive bloom on the apple trees.
The rosy bloom of her cheeks had faded.
She was blooming the last time I saw her.
Bloomer.
Bloomer.
Blooming.
Blooming.
It's blooming ridiculous.
Bloomsbury Group.
Bloomsbury Group. Blooper.
Blooper.
Blossom.
Blossom.
Pale pink blossoms.
The cherry tree was covered in blossom.
The apple trees are just beginning to blossom.
Pete's blossomed out in his new school.
The idea blossomed into a successful mail order business.
Blot.
Blot.
Thick white smoke blotted out the sun.
She said she took drugs to blot out her problems. Ink blots.
The new power station is a blot on the landscape.
The increase in juvenile crime is a blot on our time.
Blotch.
Blotch.
Blotter.
Blotter.
The police blotter.
Blotting paper.
Blotting paper.
Blotto.
Blotto.
Blouse.
Blouse.
A silk blouse.
Blue Blues on.
Blues on.
Bloviate.
Bloviate.
Blow.
Blow.
A cold breeze was blowing hard.
It was blowing from an easterly direction.
Outside, the weather was blowing a gale.
Her hair was blowing in the breeze.
The wind blew the rain into our faces. My ticket blew away.
A sudden draught blew the door shut.
She blew onto her coffee to cool it down.
He blew the smoke right in my face.
The whistle blew for half-time.
A truck went by and blew its horn at her.
Part of his leg had been blown off.
A bomb like that could blow you to bits.
We've blown our chances of getting that contract.
You've got a great future ahead of you. Don't blow it.
I blew all the money I won on a trip to Hawaii.
She leant out of the window and blew him a kiss.
The floodlights blew a fuse.
The kids were blowing bubbles in the backyard.
Blow it, I forgot to phone Jane. Blow me down if she didn't just run off. Well, I'm blowed.
Your coming here has blown the whole operation.
It would only take one phone call to blow his cover.
Seeing her again really blew my mind.
One day, I just blew my top and hit him. He blew the whistle on his colleagues.
Dave spent the whole evening blowing his own trumpet.
Motown had blown all the other record companies out of the water.
This new information blows his theory sky high.
It just blows me away, the way everyone's so friendly round here.
Nancy blew away the rest of the skaters.
The garden gate has blown down.
Several trees were blown down in the night.
Jim blew in about an hour ago.
Guess who's just blown into town?
The first snowstorm blew in from the north.
Bud got into trouble for blowing off the meeting.
Her book blew the lid off the Reagan years. I went jogging to blow off some steam.
The match blew out in the wind.
Blow out all the candles.
We blew them out, 28-0.
Our fence blew over in the storm.
The hurricane blew many trees over.
They weren't speaking to each other, but I think it's blown over now. The plane blew up in mid-air.
Rebels attempted to blow up the bridge.
Can you blow up this balloon? We'll blow the tires up.
A crisis had blown up over the peace talks.
Jenny's father blew up when she didn't come home last night.
I was surprised at the way he blew up at Hardy. One of his deals had just blown up in his face.
Joe resigned, which was a severe blow because we needed him desperately. His mother's death was a shattering blow.
The election result dealt a further blow to the party.
The factory closures came as a blow to the local economy.
The final blow for many firms was the government's abolition of import duties.
He struck a blow which threw her to the floor.
Martin received a blow on the nose. He had been struck a glancing blow by the car.
He gave her a violent blow to the head.
One big blow and the candles were out.
They almost came to blows over the money.
A reduction in interest rates would soften the blow of tax increases.